Práctica diaria de inglés. Escucha, habla y mejora tus habilidades. Al terminar, practica más en nuestra app. Gratis. Link abajo. Comienza a practicar.
Software developers write code. Software developers write code.
Los desarrolladores de software escriben código.
Software developers write code. Software developers write code. They build computer programs. They build computer programs.
Construyen programas informáticos.
They build computer programs. They build computer programs. Developers create apps for phones. Developers create apps for phones.
Los desarrolladores crean aplicaciones para teléfonos.
Developers create apps for phones. Developers create apps for phones. Software developers fix bugs. Software developers fix bugs.
Los desarrolladores de software corrigen errores.
Software developers fix bugs. Software developers fix bugs. They test the software they make. They test the software they make.
Prueban el software que crean.
They test the software they make. They test the software they make. Developers work on websites. Developers work on websites.
Los desarrolladores trabajan en sitios web.
Developers work on websites. Developers work on websites. They use different programming languages. They use different programming languages.
Utilizan diferentes lenguajes de programación.
They use different programming languages. They use different programming languages. Most developers work on a team. Most developers work on a team.
La mayoría de los desarrolladores trabajan en equipo.
Most developers work on a team. Most developers work on a team. They write clean and simple code. They write clean and simple code.
Escriben código limpio y sencillo.
They write clean and simple code. They write clean and simple code. Software developers solve problems. Software developers solve problems.
Los desarrolladores de software resuelven problemas.
Software developers solve problems. Software developers solve problems. They use laptops for their work. They use laptops for their work.
Utilizan portátiles para su trabajo.
They use laptops for their work. They use laptops for their work. Developers often work from home. Developers often work from home.
Los desarrolladores suelen trabajar desde casa.
Developers often work from home. Developers often work from home. They attend daily meetings. They attend daily meetings.
Asisten a reuniones diarias.
They attend daily meetings. They attend daily meetings. Developers use Git for version control. Developers use Git for version control.
Los desarrolladores usan Git para el control de versiones.
Developers use Git for version control. Developers use Git for version control. They push code to a repository. They push code to a repository.
Suben código a un repositorio.
They push code to a repository. They push code to a repository. Software developers review each other's code. Software developers review each other's code.
Los desarrolladores de software revisan el código de sus compañeros.
Software developers review each other's code. Software developers review each other's code. They update old software. They update old software.
Actualizan software antiguo.
They update old software. They update old software. Developers talk to clients. Developers talk to clients.
Los desarrolladores hablan con los clientes.
Developers talk to clients. Developers talk to clients. They gather project requirements. They gather project requirements.
Recogen los requisitos del proyecto.
They gather project requirements. They gather project requirements. Software developers design systems. Software developers design systems.
Los desarrolladores de software diseñan sistemas.
Software developers design systems. Software developers design systems. They follow coding standards. They follow coding standards.
Siguen estándares de codificación.
They follow coding standards. They follow coding standards. Developers write documentation. Developers write documentation.
Los desarrolladores escriben documentación.
Developers write documentation. Developers write documentation. They use tools like Visual Studio Code. They use tools like Visual Studio Code.
Usan herramientas como Visual Studio Code.
They use tools like Visual Studio Code. They use tools like Visual Studio Code. Developers use libraries and frameworks. Developers use libraries and frameworks.
Los desarrolladores usan librerías y frameworks.
Developers use libraries and frameworks. Developers use libraries and frameworks. They write unit tests. They write unit tests.
Escriben pruebas unitarias.
They write unit tests. They write unit tests. Software developers debug code. Software developers debug code.
Los desarrolladores de software depuran código.
Software developers debug code. Software developers debug code. They deploy applications. They deploy applications.
Despliegan aplicaciones.
They deploy applications. They deploy applications. Developers monitor system performance. Developers monitor system performance.
Los desarrolladores monitorizan el rendimiento del sistema.
Developers monitor system performance. Developers monitor system performance. They improve software speed. They improve software speed.
Mejoran la velocidad del software.
They improve software speed. They improve software speed. Software developers work with databases. Software developers work with databases.
Los desarrolladores de software trabajan con bases de datos.
Software developers work with databases. Software developers work with databases. They write SQL queries. They write SQL queries.
Escriben consultas SQL.
They write SQL queries. They write SQL queries. Developers use APIs. Developers use APIs.
Los desarrolladores usan APIs.
Developers use APIs. Developers use APIs. They connect systems together. They connect systems together.
Conectan sistemas entre sí.
They connect systems together. They connect systems together. Software developers stay up to date. Software developers stay up to date.
Los desarrolladores de software se mantienen actualizados.
Software developers stay up to date. Software developers stay up to date. They read tech blogs. They read tech blogs.
Leen blogs de tecnología.
They read tech blogs. They read tech blogs. Developers attend tech conferences. Developers attend tech conferences.
Los desarrolladores asisten a conferencias tecnológicas.
Developers attend tech conferences. Developers attend tech conferences. They join online coding communities. They join online coding communities.
Se unen a comunidades de programación en línea.
They join online coding communities. They join online coding communities. Software developers pair program. Software developers pair program.
Los desarrolladores de software programan en pareja.
Software developers pair program. Software developers pair program. They share knowledge with teammates. They share knowledge with teammates.
Comparten conocimientos con sus compañeros.
They share knowledge with teammates. They share knowledge with teammates. Developers do code reviews. Developers do code reviews.
Los desarrolladores hacen revisiones de código.
Developers do code reviews. Developers do code reviews. They plan sprints in agile teams. They plan sprints in agile teams.
Planifican sprints en equipos ágiles.
They plan sprints in agile teams. They plan sprints in agile teams. Software developers use Scrum or Kanban. Software developers use Scrum or Kanban.
Los desarrolladores de software usan Scrum o Kanban.
Software developers use Scrum or Kanban. Software developers use Scrum or Kanban. They track progress in Jira. They track progress in Jira.
Hacen seguimiento del progreso en Jira.
They track progress in Jira. They track progress in Jira. Developers write user stories. Developers write user stories.
Los desarrolladores escriben historias de usuario.
Developers write user stories. Developers write user stories. They use task boards. They use task boards.
Usan tableros de tareas.
They use task boards. They use task boards. Software developers estimate work. Software developers estimate work.
Los desarrolladores de software estiman el trabajo.
Software developers estimate work. Software developers estimate work. They commit code to GitHub. They commit code to GitHub.
Hacen commits de código en GitHub.
They commit code to GitHub. They commit code to GitHub. Developers merge branches. Developers merge branches.
Los desarrolladores fusionan ramas.
Developers merge branches. Developers merge branches. They resolve merge conflicts. They resolve merge conflicts.
Resuelven conflictos de fusión.
They resolve merge conflicts. They resolve merge conflicts. Software developers use command line tools. Software developers use command line tools.
Los desarrolladores de software usan herramientas de línea de comandos.
Software developers use command line tools. Software developers use command line tools. They automate tasks with scripts. They automate tasks with scripts.
Automatizan tareas con scripts.
They automate tasks with scripts. They automate tasks with scripts. Developers use continuous integration tools. Developers use continuous integration tools.
Los desarrolladores usan herramientas de integración continua.
Developers use continuous integration tools. Developers use continuous integration tools. They run tests before deployment. They run tests before deployment.
Ejecutan pruebas antes del despliegue.
They run tests before deployment. They run tests before deployment. Software developers work under deadlines. Software developers work under deadlines.
Los desarrolladores de software trabajan con fechas límite.
Software developers work under deadlines. Software developers work under deadlines. They manage time well. They manage time well.
Gestionan bien su tiempo.
They manage time well. They manage time well. Developers meet with product managers. Developers meet with product managers.
Los desarrolladores se reúnen con los responsables de producto.
Developers meet with product managers. Developers meet with product managers. They discuss new features. They discuss new features.
Hablan sobre nuevas funcionalidades.
They discuss new features. They discuss new features. Software developers fix security issues. Software developers fix security issues.
Los desarrolladores de software corrigen problemas de seguridad.
Software developers fix security issues. Software developers fix security issues. They protect user data. They protect user data.
Protegen los datos de los usuarios.
They protect user data. They protect user data. Developers handle error messages. Developers handle error messages.
Los desarrolladores gestionan mensajes de error.
Developers handle error messages. Developers handle error messages. They write logs for debugging. They write logs for debugging.
Escriben registros para depuración.
They write logs for debugging. They write logs for debugging. Software developers use cloud platforms. Software developers use cloud platforms.
Los desarrolladores de software usan plataformas en la nube.
Software developers use cloud platforms. Software developers use cloud platforms. They deploy apps to AWS or Azure. They deploy apps to AWS or Azure.
Despliegan aplicaciones en AWS o Azure.
They deploy apps to AWS or Azure. They deploy apps to AWS or Azure. Developers write front-end code. Developers write front-end code.
Los desarrolladores escriben código para el frontend.
Developers write front-end code. Developers write front-end code. They also write back-end code. They also write back-end code.
También escriben código para el backend.
They also write back-end code. They also write back-end code. Software developers learn new skills. Software developers learn new skills.
Los desarrolladores de software aprenden nuevas habilidades.
Software developers learn new skills. Software developers learn new skills. They take online courses. They take online courses.
Realizan cursos en línea.
They take online courses. They take online courses. Developers practice coding daily. Developers practice coding daily.
Los desarrolladores practican programación a diario.
Developers practice coding daily. Developers practice coding daily. They build side projects. They build side projects.
Crean proyectos personales.
They build side projects. They build side projects. Software developers use Stack Overflow. Software developers use Stack Overflow.
Los desarrolladores de software usan Stack Overflow.
Software developers use Stack Overflow. Software developers use Stack Overflow. They search for coding help. They search for coding help.
Buscan ayuda para programar.
They search for coding help. They search for coding help. Developers collaborate online. Developers collaborate online.
Los desarrolladores colaboran en línea.
Developers collaborate online. Developers collaborate online. They use chat apps like Slack. They use chat apps like Slack.
Usan aplicaciones de mensajería como Slack.
They use chat apps like Slack. They use chat apps like Slack. Software developers use task trackers. Software developers use task trackers.
Los desarrolladores de software usan gestores de tareas.
Software developers use task trackers. Software developers use task trackers. They manage code changes. They manage code changes.
Gestionan cambios en el código.
They manage code changes. They manage code changes. Developers follow agile methods. Developers follow agile methods.
Los desarrolladores siguen métodos ágiles.
Developers follow agile methods. Developers follow agile methods. They do sprint planning. They do sprint planning.
Hacen planificación de sprints.
They do sprint planning. They do sprint planning. Software developers attend retrospectives. Software developers attend retrospectives.
Los desarrolladores de software asisten a retrospectivas.
Software developers attend retrospectives. Software developers attend retrospectives. They give and take feedback. They give and take feedback.
Dan y reciben retroalimentación.
They give and take feedback. They give and take feedback. Developers enjoy problem solving. Developers enjoy problem solving.
Los desarrolladores disfrutan resolviendo problemas.
Developers enjoy problem solving. Developers enjoy problem solving. They are detail-oriented. They are detail-oriented.
Son detallistas.
They are detail-oriented. They are detail-oriented. Software developers love learning. Software developers love learning.
A los desarrolladores de software les encanta aprender.
Software developers love learning. Software developers love learning. They stay curious. They stay curious.
Se mantienen curiosos.
They stay curious. They stay curious. Developers write mobile apps. Developers write mobile apps.
Los desarrolladores escriben aplicaciones móviles.
Developers write mobile apps. Developers write mobile apps. They build Android and iOS apps. They build Android and iOS apps.
Crean apps para Android e iOS.
They build Android and iOS apps. They build Android and iOS apps. Software developers use Flutter or React Native. Software developers use Flutter or React Native.
Los desarrolladores de software usan Flutter o React Native.
Software developers use Flutter or React Native. Software developers use Flutter or React Native. They test apps on devices. They test apps on devices.
Prueban las apps en dispositivos.
They test apps on devices. They test apps on devices. Developers fix app crashes. Developers fix app crashes.
Los desarrolladores corrigen fallos en las apps.
Developers fix app crashes. Developers fix app crashes. They update apps regularly. They update apps regularly.
Actualizan las apps con regularidad.
They update apps regularly. They update apps regularly. Software developers work with designers. Software developers work with designers.
Los desarrolladores de software trabajan con diseñadores.
Software developers work with designers. Software developers work with designers. They turn designs into code. They turn designs into code.
Transforman diseños en código.
They turn designs into code. They turn designs into code. Developers use Figma or Adobe XD. Developers use Figma or Adobe XD.
Los desarrolladores usan Figma o Adobe XD.
Developers use Figma or Adobe XD. Developers use Figma or Adobe XD. They give feedback on designs. They give feedback on designs.
Dan retroalimentación sobre los diseños.
They give feedback on designs. They give feedback on designs. Software developers work with testers. Software developers work with testers.
Los desarrolladores de software trabajan con testers.
Software developers work with testers. Software developers work with testers. They fix reported bugs. They fix reported bugs.
Corrigen errores reportados.
They fix reported bugs. They fix reported bugs.
Gracias por ver. Suscríbete a nuestro canal y activa las notificaciones para obtener nuevos vídeos a tiempo y continuar tu viaje de aprendizaje de inglés.